Once upon a time, in the village of Umoma, there lived an old man named Ekene. Ekene was known throughout the village as a man of great pride, especially when it comes to his beautiful daughter, Ezinne. His beloved wife, Nneka, passed away when Ezinne was just a baby. Ekene had taken it upon himself to raise his daughter single-handedly. "Is there any other man who could do what I did?" he would ask, puffing out his chest. Ezinne never lacked anything. He made sure she had the best of everything. He never let her get involved with any man until she was ready for marriage. The villagers nodded in admiration, but some of them exchanged skeptical looks. They knew Ekene's strict rules would make it difficult for Ezinne to find a suitor. Ezinne, now 24, had grown into a beautiful young woman. Her dark skin glowed in the sun, and her laughter was like a music to the ears. Many young men in the village and beyond had noticed her, but Ekene had always been there to fend them off. He was determined that his daughter would only marry a man who could provide for her. Young men began to show interest in her, but Ekene's bride price list was notoriously long and demanding. Suitors would come, take one look at the list and run. One day, as Ekene sat under the large mango tree in front of his compound, Ezinne approached him, her eyes filled with concern. "Papa, why do you chase away every man that comes from my hand in marriage?" she asked. Ekene looked at his daughter and smiled. "My daughter, you are my treasure, the jewel of my heart. I will not allow any kind of man to take you away. Only a man who can meet my demands will be worthy of you. If he can pay your bride price, he will be able to take care of you." Ezinne nodded slowly, though her heart was troubled. She loved her father dearly, but couldn't help but wonder if his high demands were the reason she is still unmarried. Her best friend, Norma, had gotten married and gone to the city with her husband. Even though he wasn't rich, but they are happy together. The villagers began to gossip among themselves that even the richest man in Umoma couldn't afford to marry Ezinne. But Ekene paid no ears to the rumors. In his mind, he was only doing what was best for his daughter. Ezinne's beauty and her father's demand spread far and wide, attracting the attention of many young men from neighboring villages. One by one, they came to Umoma, hoping to win Ezinne's heart and meet Ekene's expectations. The first to arrive was Chidi, a tall, handsome man from the village of Ameke. He was sure that his wealth and status would impress Ekene. "Good afternoon, Papa Ezinne," Chidi greeted, bowing respectfully. Ekene looked at him carefully before nodding. "Good afternoon, young man. What brings you to my compound?" "I have heard of your daughter's beauty and virtues," Chidi began. "I would like to ask for her hand in marriage." Ekene smiled, but there was a cunning look in his eyes. "That is good to hear. But before we talk about marriage, there is a matter of bride price." Chidi listened attentively as Ekene began to list the items required: 10 cows, 20 goats, 50 yams, a large sum of money, and many other things that made Chidi's eyes widened in disbelief. By the time Ekene was done, Chidi was sweating so hard. This is too much, Papa Ezinne, Chidi stammered. No man can afford to pay such a bride price. Ekene waved his hand to dismiss him. Then you are not the man for my daughter. If you cannot pay the bride price, you cannot marry her. Chidi left the compound, shaking his head in frustration. Ezinne watched from the window, seeing another suitor walk away. She wondered if she would ever find a man who could meet her father's demand. As days passed, more suitors came and went, each one of them leaving empty-handed. The villagers continued to gossip. Ekene's greed will leave Ezinne unmarried forever. Ezinne became more worried. One evening, Ezinne sat beside her father, her voice trembling with concern. Papa, what if no one can pay my bride price? What will happen to me? Ekene smiled and patted her hand. Do not worry, my daughter. The right man will come. He will be strong, wealthy, and be able to take care of you. Deep down, Ezinne couldn't shake off the feelings that her father's demands were driving away her chance at happiness. The following week, a stranger arrived in Umoma. He was tall, well-built man with a commanding presence. Uche walked confidently to Ekene's compound, where he found Ekene sitting under the mango tree as usual. Good afternoon, Papa Ezinne, Uche greeted with a deep voice. Ekene looked up and studied the man before him. Good afternoon. What brings you to my compound? I have come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage, Uche replied without hesitation. Ekene raised an eyebrow, surprised by the man's boldness. Do you know the price you must pay to marry my daughter? Uche nodded. I do, and I am prepared to meet your demands. This took Ekene by surprise. He had not expected anyone to agree so quickly, but he maintained his composure. Very well, he said. He gave Uche the long list of items required for the bride price. Ezinne watched from the window as Uche studied the list. She had seen many suitors before, but there was something different about this stranger. I will bring everything on this list, Papa Ezinne. You have my word, Uche finally said. Ekene's face broke into a wide smile. Very well, Uche. I will prepare the traditional rites. Ezinne's heart skipped with fear as she hurried to her father after Uche left. Papa, do you know who this man is? Why is he so eager to marry me? Ekene said to her. All I know is that he is willing to pay your bride price. If he can afford to meet my demands, then he will be able to take care of you. But Ezinne wasn't convinced. Something about Uche didn't sit right with her. She didn't dare voice her concerns. Her father looked happy, and she didn't want to disappoint him. The next day, Uche returned with two elders from his village, carrying everything on the list. Ekene was impressed, but Ezinne couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. Who is this man? And why is he willing to pay such a high price for her hand? On the day of the traditional rites, Uche arrived with that same two elders. Ezinne's heart raised as she exchanged vows with him. She knew there was no turning back now. She would be leaving her father's house to start a new life with a man she barely knew. The morning after the wedding, Ezinne packed her belongings. Uche had come early, ready to take her to the city, where they would start their new life together. Ekene watched his daughter prepare to leave, his heart swelling with pride. You will be fine, my daughter. Uche is a strong man who will take care of you just as I have. Ezinne forced a smile, though her eyes were filled with uncertainty. Still, she knew she had no choice but to follow her husband. As they prepared to leave, the villagers gathered to bid Ezinne goodbye. They whispered among themselves. Some were jealous, few were concerned. She is going to the city, they said. A big life awaits her there. Uche helped Ezinne into the car. As they drove away, Ezinne looked back at her father, standing alone in the middle of the road. The car went through the dusty road, leaving Umoma and everything Ezinne had ever known behind. When they finally arrived in the city, Ezinne was overwhelmed by the noise and the crowd. The tall building and the busy streets were far from the peaceful village she had left behind. When they arrived at Uche's house, Ezinne's eyes widened. She had never seen such luxury before. Welcome to your new home. You will get used to it, my dear, and you will love it here, Uche said to her as she sat on one of the sofas. Uche sat across her. This is where you will live from now on, he stated. You will take care of the house and make sure everything is in order. I expect you to do your duties without complaint. Ezinne nodded. Do you understand? Uche said with a sharp tone. Yes, I understand, Ezinne replied. Satisfied with her response, Uche stood up and walked towards the door. I have work to do. I will be back later. Ezinne quickly stood up, went to cook, and started cleaning the apartment. While cleaning from one room to another, she stumbled upon a strange room. As she tried to open it, Uche returned. Ezinne quickly ran downstairs and greeted Uche with a smile. Uche sat down at the dining table where Ezinne had prepared a meal for him and he ate in silence. After dinner, Uche retired to his study, leaving Ezinne alone once again. As she cleaned up the dishes, tears filled her eyes. She had always dreamed of marriage as a joyful union, filled with love and companionship, but her marriage felt cold and distant. Ezinne wiped away her tears, reminding herself of her father's words. He had always told her to be strong, to endure whatever challenges that comes her way. Ezinne remembered the strange room and quickly went to check it before Uche would come out from his study. Inside, she found a collection of unusual items, strange marks, old figurines, and a book bounded in black leather. Suddenly, Uche appeared behind her, his eyes filled with anger. What are you doing here? Ezinne trembled, realizing she had stumbled into something private. I was just checking out all the rooms. Uche's expression softened, but his voice remained cold. This room is off limits. Remember that. Ezinne nodded, feeling a shiver run down her spine. What secret was Uche hiding? She wondered. Days turned into weeks. Ezinne tried to remove her mind from the strange room. She began to notice strange things, doors creaking open, whispers in the night, and she felt like she was being watched. One evening, as Uche was preparing to go out, Ezinne approached him. Uche, I want to talk to you about something. Uche turned and looked at her. What is it? I have been feeling strange things in this house. Doors opening, whispers here and there. I feel like I'm being watched. Uche said to her, you are just imagining things. But Ezinne knew what she had experienced. No, Uche, I know what I have seen. And that strange room I found. What is going on? Uche's eyes flashed with anger. I told you, that room is off limits. Don't go there again. Ezinne became scared. What was Uche hiding? Ezinne waited until Uche had left for work the next morning before making a call. Ezinne, my daughter, how are you? Ekene's voice brought smile to Ezinne's face. I am fine, Papa. I just wanted to talk to you about Uche. Papa, Uche and everything in this house is strange. He gets angry so easily. What do you mean? Has he hurt you? Ekene replied immediately. No, Papa, he hasn't hurt me, but he scares me sometimes. Ezinne replied, my daughter, marriage is not always easy. Learn to be patient. Uche is a good man. Maybe he is under stress. Remember, he paid heavily for your bride price. I will try, Papa. I just want to hear your voice, Ezinne said softly. Days passed. Ezinne began to suspect that Uche was involved in something dark, and she was trapped in the midst of it. One evening, as she laid in the bed, she heard the whispers again. This time, it was loud. Ezinne knew she had to escape, but where could she go? Just as she was about to sleep, her phone rang. Ezinne, it's me, Norma. Norma was her best friend who got married and went to the city before her. Norma, how did you get my number? Ezinne exclaimed. I got it from your father. I have been trying to reach you for weeks. Ezinne's eyes filled with tears. Norma, I'm so scared. I think Uche is involved in something bad. I don't know what to do. Where are you? Norma asked. I am in the city, in Uche's apartment, she whispered. Okay, stay calm. I will come over tomorrow. But Ezinne, you need to be careful. Norma hung up the phone and called Ezinne's father to start coming to the city. Ezinne waited for Norma's arrival. She knew she had to be careful, but she couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Finally, Norma arrived. Where is he? Norma asked. He is at work, Ezinne replied. But we have to be quick. He could come back any minute. Norma nodded. Okay, let's talk. What is Uche involved in? Ezinne told Norma the strange things that she had experienced in the house. This is bad, Ezinne, Norma said. We have to get out of here right now. But as they started to make plans to escape, Ezinne heard a noise behind her. She turned to see Uche standing in the doorway. Uche's smile grew wider as he stepped into the room. Ah, Norma, I see you want to meddle in my family affairs. Norma stood her ground. Uche, we know what you are involved in, and I am not going to let you use Ezinne for your twisted games. She is coming with me. Uche's smile grew wider. I don't think so, he said. And with that, he raised his hand, and the room was filled with light. The light enveloped Ezinne, and she felt a strange sensation washed over her. Norma tried to rush to her side, but Uche held up his hand, and she was frozen in one place. Ezinne, come with me, Uche said with a hypnotized voice. Ezinne felt herself being drawn towards him. She tried to resist, but her body continued to move. Norma struggled against the invisible bond holding her back. Ezinne, no, don't go with him. But Ezinne was powerless to resist. She followed Uche to the back of the house. Ezinne felt like she was trapped in a nightmare. She wants to escape, but Uche's power was too strong. Suddenly, they stopped in front of a massive stone building. Uche turned to her. Welcome, Ezinne, to the heart of mystery. And with that, He pulled her inside. He led her to the center of the room. "This is the source of my power and wealth," UCHE said. "And you, Ezinne, as a virgin, is the key to unlocking its secrets." Ezinne realized that she had been brought here for a dark ritual. "So this is why he didn't have any sexual intercourse with me." UCHE had traded his own soul to the dark deity in exchange for power and wealth. As UCHE raised his hand to begin the ritual, Norma burst into the chamber, followed by Ekene and the villagers. "UCHE, stop!" Ekene shouted. "You will not harm my daughter." The villagers rushed forward to overpower UCHE. Ezinne finally broke free from UCHE's spell. Together, they defeated UCHE and shattered the statues. Ezinne struck the final blow by breaking the calabash where he had kept his soul. Before UCHE could strike, the damage had been done, and UCHE's soul was forever lost to the darkness, forever trapped in the abyss of his own making. Ezinne knew she was finally free. She turned to Norma, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you for saving me." Ekene turned to his daughter with tears in his eyes and apologized to her. "I am so sorry, my daughter, for marrying you off to a ritualist." Ezinne hugged her father immediately. The only thing running through her mind was that she was finally free. And so, Ezinne returned to her village, surrounded by the people she loved. The end. Thank you for watching. Comment what you love about the story. Please also subscribe to my channel for more interesting stories.